Hello, everybody. This is Belinda from Belinda's Book Nook, and there is no hop today because we have a guest here today that is now allowed to visit the second floor, and her name is Ella, so she will make an appearance at some point, or rather, and hopefully she doesn't hear a dog and start barking. Okay, it's been a minute, as they would say, since we've been together. I think the last one we did was my birthday book haul, so that was back in June, so I'm gonna say 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I've been meaning to make videos. Let me just get my little excuse out here first so that we can make up, okay? I have been meaning to make videos, but we have had the most unusual heat wave, and I think that I'm not alone. I think that there's all over the country we're having record highs. And when I tell you we had a heat wave, I did not want to make videos. I did not want to talk about books. I didn't want to do much of anything. I did read though, but I just wasn't in the mood, and I don't want to ever come up here and be, I don't want to phone it in. I want to be able to talk to you guys and be able to, share my joy and hear what you're doing with your books. I don't want to be phony. So that was my absence, but I am back, trying to see if I can get some semblance of a routine again with recording and editing and posting and all that. And so let's get caught up with what I've been reading. And then, I just remembered I didn't take my allergy medicine today, so that's probably going to be wonderful. Today's like the first break in the intense heat. And then the other thing is, with this heat, trying to keep my garden alive has been a challenge. There's some plants that are okay with that heat and having a little bit of water, because we haven't been getting rain either. So it's like I'm having to go do Mother Nature's watering on more than I normally would have to. I remember last year we got a lot of rain because everything was green, This year, no. It says it's going to rain, and now it's like a joke. It'll be like, it's going to rain on Wednesday, and there's not one drop. And, so it's been very dry and but humid. And just really, my plants have been kind of, some of them just are not reacting to it. I haven't had any losses yet, but I've had plants that look really bad, and I'm still trying to resuscitate them. So my morning routine of watering has taken up like a lot of energy and a lot of time that it didn't normally do, but because I wanted to be thorough and make sure I got everything watered, so I'm out there doing that in the morning, and I've just been getting darker and darker, and I know usually in the summer I get darker because I go to the beach and stuff like that, or I'm outside, but I've been like trying to figure out, it was so hot, I couldn't put like long sleeves on. The only thing that I did was I put sunblock on, and I had my big beach hat, and that's the best I could do. But I told my husband to go every day. I'm just getting darker and darker. So it's been an interesting time, and it's kind of spoiled the summer because I've just not been wanting to do much, and so that kind of stinks because it seems like we're in July, going through July really fast now, and so our schedule is, my other son, the youngest, he starts school in late August, not really late August, almost mid-August. So yeah, so let's just say that we have less time to play with here. So anyways, my reading has been actually, for me, pretty good. So I don't remember what I told you guys, that was 3 weeks ago, that I was going to read. Did I tell you what I was going to read? Well, it was June, so I don't know if I told you what I was thinking about reading in that video. So for July, there's a couple. No, I think I did. I don't know. I think I did. But if I didn't, this is what I read so far. I don't know why I still have a bookmark in it, but I did finish this one. This one is Do What Grandmother Says by Ella Stratton, and this is the first of her books that I'm reading. I know that she has another one called Not So Perfect Strangers, and this one is a Harlem Renaissance. It's a modern day writer and a Harlem Renaissance artist are connected by a painting with a deadly secret in a gripping Gothic thriller. And I told y'all I'm really starting to feel these thrillers. I don't know why. It just didn't seem like me, but I'm very much invested in finding some good thrillers. And this one was great because it had a little historical fiction, a little bit of Harlem Renaissance. The character is Shanice Pierce, and that's who we're kind of following in the story. And this painting she inherits. She doesn't really. She begrudgingly inherits. Doesn't really want it. And it turns out that this painting is like the star of this story in terms of it drives what happens in the story to her. And I found it to be really good. I'm very, very like intriguing. I was definitely, wanting to like keep reading it, and that makes me happy too, because I've also been kind of, like I told you before, in a slump. So this was a good turnaround for a book. But I thought it was really good, and I thought that I think that I'm definitely going to read another book by her, because I thought this one was really, really good. So I read that one, and then I've been itching for sci-fi, and this one, I can't remember where I saw it, but I bought this from my local independent bookstore, and then I had realized I had bought for $1.99 the ebook version of the book. So it was kind of nice, because if I didn't want to look around the book, I could actually do this. And then probably midway through, I picked up the audio and listened to some of the audio for the book, for the remainder of the book actually. And this is The Deep Sky by Yumi Kitase. And this one it follows a crew. Well, it goes back. It's a dual timeline. It follows this main character. Her name was, what is her name? I forgot her name right now. Oh, come, Belinda. What is the girl's name? Why they don't even tell you right here. Asuka. And they Asuka. I say Asuka, and I think they say Asuka. She is in this. It seems to be an all-woman crew, and basically, it's a climate fiction. So there's concerned about the longevity of the earth, and so they decide that they are going to put their money into this mission. They've trained these women to go and find another planet to repopulate it and to continue the human species, right? And so you follow this girl who is, and she has to go through this training, and this isn't a spoiler, to be able to be on this. I think it's called the Phoenix was the name of the ship. And in order to go, they have to pass all these tests, and then they have children or young women that are representing different countries that will be on this ship. And she ends up being an extra, and the psychology of being kind of an extra, or not being assigned in a specific job, she always feels very insecure about that. So we roll back and forth to get her backstory, to see how she arrived at wanting to do this, and also probably why she's responding the way she is to her station in the crew. I thought it was really cool because I thought the book was good in terms of inclusivity, diversity, in terms of non-binary and people. And I felt like the concept of this book was really good. Where it fell short for me a little bit was, I felt like in the middle it was a pacing issue. I felt like it dragged on a little bit, and I was like, let's move on. But the gist of it is that something occurs and someone is killed, and then everybody starts to be suspicious of each other. And you feel like the difference before and after that was that people were very happy, and all of a sudden the space starts to feel smaller when you think somebody on there could be a murderer. The other thing that this book I thought was really interesting is that they have these things called DAR, which is like their virtual reality, but they have it implanted into their brain, and so they are able to create an environment that's pleasing to them while they're on the ship. So, for example, she really loved birds and nature. So when she's looking, it's facilitating and presenting to her a different scene, as opposed to the ship itself is very stark. I think it's white. It's very industrial looking, and so everybody has different DAR experiences that they are kind of looking through. Hope I'm explaining it right. And I thought that was kind of interesting because it makes you think about, how we utilize technology, where we are with technology now, and how we may end up doing it. There's all these virtual reality things, and you can buy visors and all these different technologies now that you can utilize, but they're not fully mainstream. It's just a select people are getting them. But I guess what it made me think of, I'm trying to think what that book was called. I really enjoyed. I guess my thing is that are we going to be so dissatisfied with what the world is that we even want to check out of what's going on and be in our own happy place virtually, and in one sense, without having the technology of a visor or an implant or anything to create that. Our phones do that with us, you know what I mean? We're on the technology, and it kind of takes you away from the present moment. So I was thinking about that a lot while I was reading the book as well, in terms of how we are like that. I hope I'm making sense. But anyways, I thought it was a very good book. I think she's written another book or two, and I would read another book by her. Again, the pacing got a little on my nerves at some point, but I still stuck with it, and I wanted to know what was going to happen. And the conclusion, I'm a little like this too. But again, I was feeling a science fiction, and I felt like this gave me a little bit of an itch. It got a little itch for me. But I don't know if I would say this was, this is you got to read book. I think it was good. If you're interested and you're curious, pick it up in the library, because new books are expensive. But I thought it was very interesting. So there was that. And then I have I wanted to read this one this month. Don't know if I'm going to get to it. The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentile. I do want to get to this. These people that are stuck in I think it's the Boston Public Library, and I think somebody gets I don't know if somebody gets murdered or if there's a scream and they hear something, and they make everybody stay till they can figure out what's going on, what the situation is. And so I think it'll be one of those, you're kind of getting the backstory of each of these people that are in the room, and then their interactions together, and it could make for a good, intense story. So we'll see if I get to that one. I don't know if I'm going to have enough time. So I am trying to get back to my book club, because I really miss Dee Dee and company, to talk about books. And their book for this month is Lone Woman by Victor Lavelle, and I have been wanting to read him for a while now. I think I own one other of his books, and this one I owned, and when she said that's what they're reading, I was like, I'm in. I'm not very far in right now. I'm only on chapter 13, which is only 50 pages in. It is very interesting from the very beginning. It pulls you in. It is also trigger warning, a little bit violent in the beginning so far. But it follows this character, and she has a trunk that she's with right now. I have no idea what is in this trunk she's taking, and she's left her home, and she's kind of on the run, and we're going to find out more. That's all I'm going to say, because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I want to know more about the story before I try to reveal anything without spoiling it for you all. So this I'm trying to get finished. I think I'm trusting it's not this weekend, but next weekend is the book club. If it's this Sunday, I'm not gonna be done in time, but if it's the following Sunday, I can make it. I'm gonna try to get this done so that I can talk with the ladies about this one. So there's that one. And then before I even started that one, I started listening to the audio of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. R.F. Kuang wrote Babel is one of the recent books. It's a huge book that people talk about, and I believe that one is a fantasy. And she did the Poppy Wars. I think the Poppy Wars was on maybe Babel as well, was on one of Barack Obama's lists, for his summer reading when they came out. But Yellowface is her latest novel, and it follows this character. I'm almost done with it. I'm about 80 or 90% through the book. It follows these this character who she has her name is Juniper Stone. She has a friend that she went to school with for journalism. And I was going to show you the picture of it. That's what I was doing this for. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? Oh, is it going to let me make it bigger on this one? No, of course not. But you've seen the cover. It's a yellow Asian face, supposedly Asian looking face. So she has a friend that she went to school with, and they wanted to be writers. And her friend, who is an Asian woman, they both kind of go on different trajectories. So her friend is super successful and just gets book deals and everything right off the bat, even right when she's in school. And the main character, it's a much slower, sloggy process, trying to get through. And so there's a level of competition and a little envy. And I think, let me make sure I'm not going to spoil anything. So we have, and her name is really June Hayward, but she ends up going by Juniper Song when she publishes this book. But wait 1 second. Her and Athena. Does it tell you that? There's an accident, and Athena, the Asian woman, passes away. It does say it on here. I just wanted to make sure I'm not telling you anything to spoil it. And there is a moment where June actually takes some of Athena's writing for her new book, that she was working on, just starting, and takes it and continues to write it and create a book. I think that this book has a lot of things. Like, it would be great for a book club because you can talk about the publishing industry. It goes into that. It reminds me a little bit of, how some of the discussions that we had for American fiction. It's another book basically that's looking into how people are perceived, who can tell stories, who shouldn't tell stories. It talks about, because June does do the research and write this book, but the initial idea and some of the beginning of the story was written by Athena, who is now passed. So you're definitely going through back and forth trying to figure out what you think in terms of, well, is she really stealing the story if she wrote the story based on an excerpt, basically, a small amount from Athena? And then the question is, it's a story about Asian American history and Asian history, and does June have the right as a white woman to tell that story? It pulls on you can hear echoes of different things that had occurred in real life. I know there was a book that came out, I can't remember, several years back, and it was on the Oprah book, she has her book club, and you guys will probably remember it better than me. I am, but I think the woman was white. She was writing about either Native American and like indigenous people, or it was a story about maybe Latino Hispanic people, and people took offense that she was kind of stereotyping, and they felt like she wasn't supposed to tell that story because it's not her story to tell. And then there was also questions about how much money she got in advance in terms, and if that had been a person of color, would they have gotten that kind of advance to tell this story? So it makes you think about things. One thing I thought about too while I'm reading this is like the Henrietta Lacks story. I absolutely love that book because it opened my eyes to something I didn't know that happened in history to this woman and her family. And the author of it, Rebecca Sloot, something like that, she's white. And so when the book came out, I really enjoyed it. Everybody really was, happy that she was revealing the story. And then I think it was maybe about 4 or 5 years later, the family of Henrietta Lacks came forward and talked about how they didn't feel she was representing the story fully, and how, they didn't reap any benefits to the story, just Rebecca did. And there was a lot of like, who's to tell the story? Why can't we tell our story? And so in my mind, that one it's still like one of those things that kind of, there's no clear-cut answer, because, she came across information, I don't remember how, but she decided it was worth telling the world and giving it life. And so she did write the story, and she did do the research to go and find out information. But if she hadn't done that, I don't know if we would have heard this story. And so I'm grateful that the story was there, but I understand where people are coming from on that. So the book did make me think about things like that, who can tell the story, who has the right, the sensitivity in the matter, because, when it's your story of your people, when you say things, they can be received, they're better received. If somebody says it that's outside of the group, certain things, it could be termed as offensive. I'm trying to think of the examples, but this book talked about it in terms of Asian representation. They touched a little bit, like, we've watched all of these movies where they've put a white character, and they are, instead of an Asian character playing the role, I'm trying to think, The Last Airbender was a good example. It was a great graphic series that the characters were Asian, and then when they made the movie with people, they were not. We've got what is it? Even one of the Marvel ones, the character in Doctor Strange, the woman that was played in there was not Asian, but the character in the story is Asian. And so Scarlett Johansson played a character that was supposed to be Asian. And so, the question is, why don't you get somebody that's Asian to play those parts? And even in the book, it did allude and talk about, well, sometimes you want to get a big star to sell it, because they don't know somebody, they're not going to want to go see it, right? So it's good. I'm enjoying it. I will say this, I am listening to it in audio. If I was to read this, I don't know if it would I would experience it differently. Oh no, a dog. Please don't let her hear it. I don't know if I would appreciate it as much, because even listening to it, I feel like at some point it's like, she's going on whining, and I'm like, okay, but so I don't know if I would read that, if reading it would turn me off more to the story. I know that there's mixed feelings about it, so I know I'm talking a lot about it, but that one I'm almost finished with, and then I'm going to hunker down and get Lone Woman done. So those are the things that I read. I don't know how long I've been talking. It seems like it's been ages. So those are things I did want to do a book mail with you because I saved it for the video. And I got this, I don't know, a week or two ago. But again, I have so many books, it's not like I'm going to read it right away. But this book is the third book in a series of a book that I read that I really enjoyed. It was a fantasy series. And that series is by Tomi Adeyemi, and it's Children of Blood and Bone. Like, look at that, right? I got this, I think it's 2018 this came out, and I got this, and I was like, over the moon. So first of all, you have an amazing cover, right? But then you go inside, and the end page has got like a map. It is like, this is my jam. This is such a good fantasy book. It had African mythology infused in it. It followed this girl who her people had all this, they were magies and they had magic, and the elite people, the kings and them, took the magic from them. And her parents were killed. And so I think it's just her, and I don't know if she had a sibling. I can't remember. It's been so long. But she's wants to take back the power and get the power back, get the magic back, and get their power and resume where they were. So that was book one. Fabulous. The book, when it came out, there was so much fuss. They were talking about it be optioned for a movie. I know they even had gotten, I think, a director, and then we never heard anything. And then we had our pandemic, so it may have just got scrapped. I hope not, because I think it can be done really well. I think the people that did Black Panther would be my pick to help make this come true, as well. Specifically, the costume designer that did the stuff for Black Panther should be involved because she's incredible. And look her up. Can't think of her name right now, but I think she could bring this to life, and I think that if somebody could really carefully do it, they could do a really good job with it. Then book two came out. It took a long time for book two to come out, and we found out she had I think a three book deal, and this one came out. Hold on, it came out in 2019. It seemed like it was longer than that, but whatever. It kept getting delayed, I remember. And this one is Children of Virtue and Vengeance. So another amazing cover. A lot thinner than the original story. I was happy to start it. I know there's mixed feelings. Some people were like, I felt like this didn't live up to the hype. I felt like the characters were turned into whiny wines. And I was like, oh gosh, no. No. And so why do you say I get the third book? Because I feel like Tomi Adeyemi is an amazing writer. I need to know how this story is going to end, and I want to see redemption for her because I feel like she can do it. So this is book 3, and I waited to open it with you guys. I bought it from Barnes & Noble because they had a special edition, and I wanted to see what that was going to look like. So let's hope it's really nice looking. So, okay. So opening it up right away, we can see the edge of the page has like leaves and stuff on it. Can you see that? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And here is the cover, which I will take that Barnes & Noble exclusive edition sticker off, and I will do like Alba says to take off the sticky stick. The book is probably, let's see, it's not as thick as the first. It's thinner than the second one. It's even thinner. This is the second one and this is the third one. So I'm not going to judge it by the size. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see how she's going to end it. I can't tell you anything about it because that would just ruin it. Again, it's got the beautiful pages inside. This is why I got this one. It's also it has the leaves on the edges of it. It's just really pretty. And this one is called Children of Anguish and Anarchy, and that's that cover. So I don't know when I'll get to this, probably in the fall. Feels like a fall read for me. And I think what I'm going to do, look how the pages look inside. So they put like an actual border on the actual pages. So that's kind of neat, actually. I love it. I think what I'm going to do is listen to the audio of book 1 and 2 and then read this. So it will be seamless, because my memory of how that one ended, I can't remember. And it also will refresh me on the characters. So there's that. And I'll show you all 3 before I go. Oh my goodness. I also have to confession. It's like I told you guys I wasn't going to buy any more books, but I bought books this month. And I'm not going to show them to you because I'm just embarrassed. I will show them to you probably next month, because I just can't. I don't want to do a book haul and a book haul right after another one. But I will share what I got. I got some really good ones. So those are the 3. That's what they look like. And then what they look like, you know, this is for the nerds. Then if you're not the nerd that likes to look at these things, you can just fast forward. But so there they are, how they'll be on the shelf together. They are about the same height. Yeah. And then on this side, you'll see that this one has the special edge on it. I'm excited about it. I really am excited about it. I like the first one, and I feel like she's going to come back strong. I'm hoping on the 3rd one. Let me know what you're reading. I apologize for yammering on for so long, because I can feel myself already starting to feel drained too. So I know, and the heat's picking up. And Ella fell asleep. I don't know if she's going to. Ella, will you get up and say hi? Elle, hey, can you sit up and look at the camera? Come here. Can you stand up? Stand up. Come here a minute. Can I lift you up a little bit so they can see you? There's my little girl. Can you look that way, Ella? Elle, can you look over there? Exploiting my doggy. Yeah, she's excited. She's not supposed to be in this room, but I told her she could come in here right now and sit with me while I made the video. So, like the days at the car, right? Right? Anyway, I hope you guys are reading something wonderful. I'm sorry for the long departure. I hope that you all are well and you're cool. And tell me what you're reading. Tell me what you're reading. If you've read any of the things that she's so tired, she's laying down. And tell me what you're reading, and if you read any of the stuff that I read, what are your thoughts? Let me know if you read Yellowface, what your thoughts are, because I said it's a mixed bag. Some people really liked it, and other people were like, I don't know, you know. So, you know, whatever. Anyway, cheers to the rest of the summer. Let's enjoy it. Let's stay cool. And I will talk to you guys later. And I can't really jump up. I'm going to go slow so I do not step on her. I will see you next time. Bye.